All right, here's an example of a rational inequality. These can be a little bit tricky, so hopefully this helps clear up some questions from the lecture if you fall into that bucket. All right, so what's our first step here? All right, our first step is to solve 2x over x plus 1 equals 1. All right, well, how am I going to do that? Remember, I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator. Some of you refer to this as cross-multiplying. All right, why do I do that? It's going to cancel on the left. So I have 2x equals x plus 1. All right, subtract x, and I get x equals 1. All right, so this is one of my boundary points. All right, my other boundary point is going to come from taking my denominator and setting it equal to 0. So again, notice all I did was I took the denominator, set it equal to 0, and I get x equals -1. Okay, so we have 1 and -1 as our boundary points. All right, so let's go to another page here. Let me rewrite the problem. 2x over x plus 1 greater than or equal to 1, and we found boundary points of, I shouldn't write x, we found boundary points of -1 and 1. Okay, so I'm going to write my 3 intervals. All right, since I have 2 boundary points, I'll have 3 intervals. All right, and I do come to -1 first. Now, for -1, am I going to use a parentheses or a bracket? And the answer is I am always going to use a parentheses for the boundary point that comes from the denominator, because x cannot equal -1. All right, so again, the boundary point that comes from the denominator, we always use parentheses. All right, what about with 1? Well, for 1, I'm looking at my inequality, and my inequality is greater than or equal to. And because I have the or equal to, I'm going to use a bracket. All right, and then my third interval of bracket 1 to infinity. All right, I need test values. All right, so what would my test value be between -infinity, -1? I'm going to choose -2. A number between -1 and 1, absolutely, I'm going to choose 0. And a number 1 to infinity, I'm going to choose 2. All right, I'm going to plug these numbers into my inequality. So I have 2, and I'll put what we're plugging in red. All right, 2 times -2 all over -2 plus 1. Oops. I should write that in black. All right, and so what does this give us? This gives us -4 over -1, which is just 4. Is 4 greater than or equal to 1? And hopefully you're all saying, well, yes, $4 is more than $1. All right, so let's try 0 now. All right, so we have 2 times 0 all over 0 plus 1 gives us 0 over 1, which is just 0. Is 0 greater than or equal to 1? And the answer is no. All right, now lastly, let's plug in 2. So I plug in +2, and I have 2 plus 1 in the denominator. This gives me 4/3. All right, is 4/3 greater than or equal to 1? Well, yeah, it's not much bigger, but it is bigger. 4/3 is greater. 1 1/3 is bigger than 1. All right, and so our answer is -infinity to -1 union 1 to infinity. Hopefully that helps clear up some confusion.